Live. There we go. We're on right now. So, this is the first video for the TV Enthusiast YouTube page. Right now, we are live broadcasting with no viewers because this is just kind of our first time testing this all out. So, I am Tyson, editor-in-chief of TV Enthusiast. Joining me today is Will, who is
Hello.
the news director for TV Enthusiast and a contributor with me on the Weekly Set podcast. Today we're going to just be doing a short video where we're going to be talking about the first episode of the season of Game of Thrones. Okay, so first off, I just want to say that acknowledge that the first 4 episodes have leaked online from
Yep,
press screeners. So
I will be
yeah,
watching those as they air.
I've watched the second one just because I had like a whole party together and we were
Oh,
like,
you cheater.
might as well. But I'm holding off besides that. Plus, I didn't get my Aria fix from what was available there, so
True.
needed my
No
Aria fix.
Arya in the pilot.
Yeah, that was a little disappointing. No Aria and no Dorn, I believe, as well, right?
Right, no Dorne at all. But I mean, it's the way Game of Thrones is. They got so many characters, so much going on that you're not going to get everything in every episode.
Yeah. Yeah. That was what I was most excited about, but at least we got to see Tyrion, so got to
Yeah.
see what his journey's been like, so pushing shit out of holes in a box, apparently.
And Barry's cleaning it up.
Yeah. So Varys revealed to Tyrion that he's been kind of planning right now to try to push for Daenerys to be the new on the seat of King's Landing. So
Yeah.
you're gonna have to keep me in check here because I might say something that's a little bit ahead. I'm not. I'm trying really hard, but there's certain things that are kind of like mixed up in my head just because I watched both of them together. I
Right.
don't think I'll go off, but in the first episode, that's we dealt with Daenerys having to carry out a sentence. Was that what happened?
Um, the sentence. I believe I believe she ordered like a funeral, a very public funeral, because one of the I can't even think of what they call those people now.
Oh, the Unsullied
The Unsullied. Yes, because one of the Unsullied was murdered by this new group who came in
with the
and
golden masks.
the Golden Mask. Yeah.
Yeah.
And she ordered a very public funeral for this person. And then we also got a bit of it with her dragons.
Yeah.
And they're very big now. They're very terrifying. She's terrified of them.
Yeah. They don't
And
seem very happy to
she,
see her either. So.
no.
That was a cool shot, though. They illuminated the room with the one fire in the background, breathing fire, and
Yeah,
the dragon in the foreground, like kind of lunging at her. Yeah, that was a really cool shot. But
that was a cool shot. I love that.
overall, I
Uh,
kind of felt like this episode was slow. How about you?
yeah, it's about on par with the pilot or the first episode for last season. I thought that was slow too. So this was slow, but I thought there was at least more meat to it. There was like some interesting things happening. A lot of it is mostly set up for what's going to happen in the season.
Mm-hmm.
But I really liked the exchange between Varys and Tyrion. I thought that was interesting.
They're a great pairing.
They're
they're
great. They are.
they're fun to
Um,
watch.
the stuff at the end there with Jon Snow and the leader of the Wildlings, his execution, Jon
Yeah,
Snow trying to convince him to bend the knee to I almost said Robert Baratheon,
Stannis.
Stannis Baratheon. Like I thought that was good.
We also got our first flashback in this episode.
Yeah, that
So,
threw me off because it started on that. Game
yeah.
of Thrones never does flashbacks, or never has that I could think of. No. So I wasn't aware at first that this was all happening in the past. That
When
this
did you
was
catch
like,
on to that?
I think like halfway through she was talking to the witch. I thought,
You're,
there's
wow, this
something
girl's really
very,
arrogant.
yeah, it's like, man, this girl is really arrogant. And I thought, oh, well, of course, it's
Yeah.
Cersei.
Yeah.
But
Who else could it be?
yeah, Game of Thrones has never done this before, so I thought, so it kind of threw me off.
Yeah, it's
Uh,
a common storytelling tool, I guess, that's been used by Lost, of course, was made it kind of infamous. And then but a lot of shows have been using it, through the years, and I think Lost kind of encouraged more people to go into it, and this is the
right,
first year that Game of Thrones has played with the concept of flashbacks.
right.
It's interesting. I'm hoping to see more because it's kind of cool to kind of see characters at different states. This is an opportunity for us to see, Ned Stark again, or to see,
Yeah, right.
yeah. So
Yeah.
there's some really cool opportunities here. I think the Lannisters as kids would be kind of fascinating to see, or the Martells. I mean, Oberyn told that story last season about how he had visited the Lannisters and how Cersei was basically trying to pull off like Tyrion's penis when he was a
Yeah.
baby or something. But yeah, it's like I could totally see like those kind of scenes, seeing like Jaime being kind of protective of Tyrion, but Cersei being kind of violent against him and stuff, and that whole kind of dynamic could be really interesting there. Seeing a young Oberyn could be interesting too.
Oh, yeah, yeah. And one scene got me, Cersei really guilt tripping Jamie hard about their father's death. It's
Yeah,
like, yeah, it's like really making him feel like shit when all he did was, he just said Tyrion free.
yeah, yeah. It's funny because you know in the
um,
books, and I haven't even read the books, but I just know about this from discussion. Uh, that the fortune that Cersei was told, it wasn't told through a flashbacks in the books. I guess a character just recounted it. But they gave a lot more information, a lot more stuff, including that I guess like the friend that was with her was going to die that night and all this other stuff, and then that
oh,
was like the first thing that happened, and that's kind of what made Cersei kind of um, really kind of going into getting hyper defensive about things. I guess that also part of the prediction was that she was going to be killed by her little brother or something like that, and that was like a
oh,
prediction or something, and that kind of it's almost like a self-fulfilled prophecy. Cersei
right.
Cersei started acting in ways that kind of made all of those things. She put herself at odds with her brother. She, did these things herself.
Right. The
So,
part of the prophecy about a younger woman coming along, stealing all that she holds dear. That you find out that's referring to Marjorie and how she's going to marry Tommen, her son, effectively taking her child away from her, the last one she has,
yeah,
because Joffrey's dead. Her daughter is in
Dorne,
the
yeah,
country where Oberyn comes from, Dorne.
yeah.
So really, all she has left now is Tommen, and she sees that's going to be taken away from her, and so it's kind of that prophecy is coming true.
It's her own clinginess is her undoing. She's
Right.
it's her like
Yeah.
trying to
Yeah.
fight so hard and having resentment against things that haven't happened, which is making those things happen. So it's kind of interesting to see
Right.
how that's going to develop as more stuff starts going wrong for her, I guess.
Right.
As it
And now,
inevitably should, I guess. So
yep.
yeah.
And Jon
It's
Snow, I don't know, he put himself in a big spot because he directly defied Stannis at the end there when he shot the arrow
hmm
through the wildling leader's heart, and he defied the wishes of Stannis, to have this guy executed, have him screaming, burning at the stake. And so, Jon Snow now has put himself at risk, put himself in a load of trouble. And now I guess we gotta wait till next week to see how that plays out.
and
So that's
Stannis is so strict with how he handles things like that. He's just doesn't let things go. Anything he takes is a slight. You know.
right. He's not the type to let it
Yeah.
slide. Yeah.
He's such a by the books person. Everything has to be done this way. It's like, why does that have to be this way? Well, because that's the way it's supposed to be. So, it doesn't
Right,
matter if
right.
it's illogical now or anything. That's the way it was supposed to be. So it has to be that way. And
He's very, very rigid like that.
yeah, I think that kind of would make him good as like I don't know, a Supreme Court justice type figure, rather than a
Right.
king.
I don't
Somebody
know.
that just kind of literally interprets the law, versus somebody that's ruling, without compassion or so.
Right, exactly.
Yeah,
Like that's another reason Varys supports Daenerys because Varys sees in her he sees a powerful ruler, but a powerful ruler who also has compassion, which
yeah,
is rare.
yeah,
Somebody, yeah, and that's why Varys is backing that horse,
yeah,
and he
yeah,
wants Tyrion with his experience and knowledge to be her advisor.
yeah. That's man, that's a meetup that I can't wait to see happen.
Oh, I can't wait to see that. I have a feeling they will not get along at all at first. Like,
So
Tyrion has this brash attitude towards him where he is just going to tell it to you straight and not care what you think,
uh
you know, regardless of your status.
and he'll
Because
probably be
we've seen that
drunk when he shows
Tyrion does,
up too.
yeah, we've seen that Tyrion does not care about status. He just talks to everybody bluntly like that.
Yeah. So I love the scene when he got out of the crate and he started drinking and then he threw up and then he
Yes,
just started drinking more.
he's like, gonna he was perfectly content to drink himself to death.
Yeah. And who can blame him at this point, It's
He's been through so much.
Yeah.
Well, like, he's at the point where he doesn't see a point to anything right now. He's lost his girlfriend, he's lost his position in society, he just murdered his own father.
Yeah.
He doesn't see like anywhere for him to go or anything for him to do at this point. Even though Varys is saying, you do have a role, you do have a place, Tyrion just can't see it or doesn't want to see it because he's so consumed by his own demons.
I really wonder what their meeting is going to be like. I mean, besides obviously there's probably Tyrion will probably be drunk. He'll probably make a bit of a fool of himself, maybe a bad first impression, but man,
Right.
that's a power couple if there is one. You
I
have her
think
with her convictions and the kind of following she's built, and you have him with his intelligence and the way
I,
he's kind of sees people and stuff, which is he's like the perfect advisor for somebody like her.
I think he's going to tell her stuff that she probably doesn't want to hear but needs to hear. And
Hmm.
she's going to resist at first because she's going to be like, well, who's this guy to tell me what to do? And,
So
it's going to be like that, I think.
So in the first episode, this is another thing I'm going to have to clarify because I'm not sure if it's the first or second episode. Did her one advisor, the guy that used to be the head of the King's Guard, did he talk to her about her father?
No.
Okay, so I just won't touch on that any further than that. It's nothing.
Okay.
It's nothing huge. It's just she has a conversation with him. It's kind of more interesting as far as
I
like
think
things he
all the
needs to know.
I think all the Daenerys scenes centered around a couple things: the murder of the Unsullied,
Hmm.
um, her arranging demanding the funeral, and then the big debate over opening a fighting pit, which she is very much against. And
Yeah.
and then the guy, the soldier there, who's also her lover, is telling her, "Oh, I think it's a great idea to open the fighting pits," and she's like, "No, it's a horrible idea. I don't want to do that."
And he told her
And
his backstory, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
but I don't
Okay.
remember anything about like her father in this episode. So,
Okay. Yeah. That'll be next episode. It's just a small scene, but yeah. I don't know. Like episode was just so slow, just so painfully slow.
yeah,
Uh,
there's no major event that happened. It's all character drama and set up for what's to come. It really is. It's more character focused than it is focused on like events happening.
That's why I feel kind of mixed with this leak. Like I feel with this leak out there that I almost have to watch the all four of the episodes just because as bad as spoilers were for the show before, they're going to be so much worse now because
Oh
there are
yeah, I know.
differences and they're all just going to be talked about openly and
Yeah,
so it's
yeah.
it's something that I'm
I
like okay.
feel the same.
Yeah, but
I'm
at the
feeling the
same
same
time
way.
I'm upset that these episodes leaked at all, you know? I think it's just kind
Right.
of annoying. Like I didn't want the option, and now I have the option hanging
Yeah.
over my head like a. ah, but
I just, I just did like kind of an out of sight, out of mind type thing. Like
mhm.
I don't know where they are on the internet. I didn't go looking for them. They're not on the HBO Now app, so they're not there. They don't exist.
Yeah.
So that's kind of how I'm playing it because I do want to watch it like I intended. An episode a week, which
But
is
this, but with this, with the leak having happened, it's making me kind of think about um, this whole kind of division between the way like HBO and typical TV broadcast works, and like the Netflix model of dropping everything at once.
oh yeah,
And I don't
like
know where I fall on that line as far as Game of Thrones goes, but I almost kind of wish, I think the one kind of solution that could really improve the way a Game of Thrones season starts is they should do kind of what Lost did, which is just have 2 hour season premieres and finales.
right, yeah,
You know, make it an
yeah,
event. But
yeah. But like,
man,
well, Game of Thrones, like their seasons are so short. It's only 10 episodes.
yeah,
It's one of It's not like their seasons are shorter than even the short shows, which tend to run 13.
yeah,
They do 10 episodes a year and they're done.
yeah. I think I'd be willing to have the run last one less week though if they made the premieres 2 hours. You know, I just
Right.
think that that would be a necessary thing to kind of because God that the wait after every premiere is pretty rough. But this one I felt the slowest to me of all of them, and I ended up watching the second episode and I feel kind of mixed about that. I mean I had just watched the entire run of Daredevil over 2 days before that.
I
So
noticed.
so yeah, it's that binge watch aspect has been
You've been
it's
spoiled by Netflix.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And I like having Game of Thrones be like a night to night thing. I do actually like events for Game of Thrones. We had 6 people over at my house for Game of Thrones, and we made a bunch of food and did decorations. My downstairs all decked out with all sorts of stuff right now, even still. And so I like that aspect of it. And we usually do it twice per season. We'll do it on the premiere, and then like last year we did episode 9 instead of episode 10 because episode 10 was on Father's Day and nobody could make it. But yeah, we like to do those, like, 2 times a season or so. So I do like that aspect, and I think a lot of that would be lost if it was, done all binge watch style. But
Right.
that being said, God, I just feel like the episodes or the seasons take so long to kind of really get going, that I kind of wish they'd just give us a little bit more meat right at the get-go.
Right. I think a lot of people pointed this out with the Netflix model too. The fact that they dump all the episodes at once means
Hmm.
that they can have the first episode or first 2 or 3 episodes or whatever go at a slow pace and have their shows do a slow burn,
Hmm.
have that type of storytelling and not risk, turning people off or, having people wait a week and say, well, that was boring.
Yeah.
you know,
Well, it's
and
like
that's another
the
thing
the
that,
Daredevil. The first episode was good, but I think it wasn't
right.
probably until the third episode that you really got into kind of like the action, and you know what I mean, like where it really felt like it was rolling, like the story started going. I mean, how long did it take for Fisk to even show up? That was like 4 or 5
Oh gosh, I
episodes
think
in or
episode
something, or
4, yeah. I think he shows up at the very end of episode 4. Just one scene at the very end. And I
yeah.
was like, And he's turned out to be like one of the best TV villains so far.
Oh
He's
yeah,
he's he's such
he's.
an interesting character, like within the show. He's not like anything like I remember from the comics where he's just like this evil mob guy.
I
He's
think
like
if this
he
wasn't
does,
Netflix, they would have had him show up in a small position in like the pilot.
right. I think so.
Hi, that's my mom in the background.
Okay.
So, anyways, yeah, I guess we'll just kind of cut it off there. I mean, Game of Thrones season 5, it's looking good. I know that this is content from the last 2 books, which are kind of the least favorite of fans of the series, but they seem to be changing a lot of things, and that could be for the better, for all we know. We might be getting spoilers for the books this season, we've heard, and so it's going to be exciting times. I'm going to
No
be able
doubt.
to.
As somebody who hasn't read the books, I'm excited. Right.
Finally, don't have to worry about spoilers around the corner. Yeah. Now the book readers have to make sure to watch the episode quickly so they don't get spoiled by you. So.
And it's actually worse for them because show spoilers are much more prevalent than book spoilers,
Oh yeah, yeah,
like by a huge margin.
yeah.
And so,
Because
and
there's videos and pictures and stuff. Yeah,
and
you can
I
make a spoiler from a TV show with just a single picture that somebody slips in somewhere.
yeah,
That you can't
oh
even
yeah, Game
ignore.
of Thrones spoilers are like all over the place. You can't escape it. And I actually feel lucky that I watched the show from the beginning as it aired on a weekly basis, so that
Mhm.
I wasn't able to be spoiled by by people because I watched it when everybody else did.
Imagine if you had missed like last season's episode, "The Mountain and the Viper," and
Oh,
there's a single shot that could have told the whole story of that episode.
oh yeah, total.
Yeah, that picture could have just been up all over forums, everywhere on the internet, and it would have been unavoidable to see. And I think it actually
Same.
kind of was.
Yeah, I think it was. Same thing with the Red Wedding. As soon as it happened, there was like all kinds of references on the
Yeah,
internet. There were memes all over the place.
yeah, it was
All kinds.
unavoidable.
Yeah. So that's what happens with this show, more so than any other show, I believe, because no other show gets this kind of traction, major traction with spoilers. Not even like not even like The Walking Dead or the other like huge rating shows.
Yeah.
It's just that this show has those oh my god moments, and that's the problem.
Yeah,
So I
but
hate somebody coming in late to the party on this TV show, because I think a lot of the impact will be lost if you already, because you got to know some of the major beats.
well, just the
Even if you,
dragons thing alone, the dragons became such a huge part of the marketing after the first season. So anybody going into the first season already knows, oh, that's that show with dragons. But that was
right,
held
yeah,
off till the very end of the first season. So
right,
I
exactly.
mean, that's probably a bigger spoiler than the Ned Stark thing because the people don't even know who he is. Oh, they killed a
Yeah,
major character, and by the time they watch it, they probably forgot who it was because they didn't know.
yeah, because they
But
didn't
the
know.
dragons are like, when are the dragons going to show up the whole time?
All right, I thought this was a show about dragons.
So yeah, we'll end it off here then. We should be doing this every week to kind of catch up on what's been going on with Game of Thrones. This week was kind of our first test, so if you're watching, leave some comments. Let us know what you think. If you have any questions you want to ask us, you want to have us read a question on the air, do anything like that, just let us know, and we'll start kind of figuring this out as we go. So, thank you, everybody. Visit tventhusiast.com, which is our website, and that's it. Bye.
Bye.